update on a big winter storm, Mike. We've been talking about this for well over a week now.
Yeah, we started to see the trends in this just over a week from now, and the first component of this has arrived. If you see behind us, we have the Arctic air rushing in from the north. Wind chill values already in the teens and single digits in our area, and that's setting the stage for that wintry weather.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see on this map right here, the true Arctic air right now is still across portion northern Kansas into Missouri. That colder air will be arriving here, especially as we get into tomorrow. Well, we're going to see temperatures staying in the teens all day, on top of a lot of snow, which is going to start tonight. In fact, we'll get through another graphic here to kind of give you a little bit of a timeline for this event. See that cold and wintry, mostly dry today. If you've been out, you felt the wind and those cold temperatures. I know you got here early this morning.
When it was still above freezing.
Yeah, and I came in here not too long ago and was like, get ready, Mike, it's getting cold.
We're going to be tracking how long we're below freezing. We started at 5 a.m. today, and it may be the middle of next week, even if that, to get above freezing. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that sets the stage for this incoming winter storm.
And then let's see, as we move into later on this afternoon and evening, Mike, it looks like we start to get into the thick of things as we get into, well, there we go.
Yeah, 3 to 9 o'clock. Basically, what I've seen in the data is, sometime in the mid to late afternoon, the first of the snow showers and maybe some sleet pellets start to arrive in our southern counties. So if you look at McAllister, maybe angling up towards Bristow, you might be getting some of the first activity with falling snowfall, but I don't think really road conditions go downhill until well after dark for Tulsa. I think it's showing up between 7, 9, even 10 o'clock. It's been a little bit delayed, so most of our Friday fine on the roadways, but tonight it will go downhill fast.
Yeah, and if there's anything that's good about this for most everybody, it's going to be in the form of either sleet or snow. We're not talking about ice. Dallas or Texas, some of those areas, I feel for those folks because they're probably going to be dealing with some freezing rain and ice. And
that's where you get the power outages. Though on my way into work this morning, I saw power crews staged at TCC, one of TCC's campus. So I do know that they're still prepared here in case there is a loss of power. But this is not the kind of system that would hopefully do that. But we're talking a ton of snow, so it might be inevitable at a few points to lose power.
So we're talking snow starting tonight, overnight into tomorrow. Looks like we'll see a lull in the snow, and then it starts to pick back up late tomorrow night and into Sunday as well.
Yeah, so this is a two-phase system. So we're going to get the first round coming in, let's say evening hours, mid-evening. It really starts to come down. It'll come down heavily enough tonight, and in some cases we might get thunder snow. This might involve some thunderstorms embedded within this cold air mass. So if it's not snowing, it might be sleeting. In any case, that produces very high snowfall rates, and that will quickly make road conditions go downhill, be very slick and hazardous, and really it'll be off and on pretty moderate to heavy at times until maybe late tomorrow morning. So I think really through that window of time, travel is discouraged.
Yeah, and a lot of the models are putting, anywhere here in the metro by tomorrow afternoon, upwards of 5 to 6 inches of snow, and then we get another round as we get into Sunday with another 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of snow. So here's a look at the heavier stuff as we move through the overnight tonight. As again, as Mike was saying, we'll move from the south to the north. We'll see that mostly sleet south of I-40. And as we get into tomorrow, it looks like widespread snow and cold. Wind chill values below 0 tomorrow. Temperatures going to be in the teens and pretty much a pretty raw day. In fact, we were talking earlier, this reminds me a bit more of that February 1st, the 2011 blizzard that we saw.
Yes.
So we saw the record 14 inches of snow because this event we've seen this more than a week now, and it's not often that the models continue to paint kind of the consistency in the trends. We've seen that for more than a week now.
Yeah, we're kind of at throughout much of green country at this point where we have just enough cold air, but also just enough moisture, and it's meeting up in that bullseye where those overlap the best, kind of right over green country. And that's why we're kind of painting strips of incredible snowfall totals over our area. And one thing you mentioned with the cold is that kind of think back to February of 2021, where recently we had snow and bitterly cold air. And I remember at that point emphasizing for parents to not allow your kids to be outside for too long of a time at any given stint, because this is not like it's 25, 30 degrees with snow. This is much colder, especially with the wind, and that could induce frostbite maybe in as little as 30 or 45 minutes at the coldest point. So you really want to kind of limit your time out there in this activity.
Yeah, and in the summertime we talk about the heat index. It's 105, feels like 105, that's the temperature you need to prepare for if you're going outside.
Yeah.
When we talk about the wind chill, that's the temperature that you need to prepare for if you're going to be out and exposing in the wind. We're talking about wind chill values -5 to -10, some cases maybe -15 over the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Those cold temperatures.
That's why the Weather Service issued an extreme cold warning that goes into effect at midnight tonight, and it doesn't lift until midday Monday. So that's the extent we're in this real deep freeze when that Arctic air Phil was mentioning is fully in place.
Yeah, and this has chances of being a historic snow force. The record for a 3-day snowfall here in Tulsa is 14 inches.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit of snow. That was back in the 2011 during the blizzard from January 30th to February 2nd, when that 3-day window.
Yeah.
There's a chance.
There's a chance, and what could happen is we get several bands of heavy snow. If they stay over the same place for a little while, 2 to 3 inch snowfall rates per hour, that could quickly add up. I mean, this might even happen overnight to tomorrow morning, where some of us will actually wake up with, instead of kind of a broad 4 to 6 inches, some of us might wake up to 8 to 10 inches. And if we get something similar to repeat that next night, I mean, we do have the upper end of our snow totals going up to 18 inches. And that won't be a widespread total, but a few spots might end up with that. And if that happened to be in Tulsa, that would break all the records for our snowfall for a snowstorm. And that would be truly historic and pretty crippling, because side roads are going to be nearly impassable, the untreated ones. And we're talking about the wind. There'll be snow drifts that go up several feet on top of that. And that really will be a hindrance to a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. We'll probably see, we'll measure the snow drifts in the feet.
Yeah.
So get ready for that. Here's a look at Sunday as we start to see this system finally moving off to the east. Still looks like we're going to have that chance of seeing that heavier snow overnight Saturday. And into Sunday, and the models have continued to kind of want to hang that snow around even into the early afternoon hours on Sunday.
Yeah, I've taken a lot of calls and texts from people who are maybe they're pastors or they're involved in church, and they're really trying to decide should churches go forward. And I think the majority of them are saying, yeah, we're not going to risk it. It's entirely too cold for people to get out. And then of course, if you try to make it in or you try to go somewhere, then you get stuck. Then you're stuck in the bitterly cold air, and it may be tough to get to you if you're going a bit of a distance. So our recommendation is to stay put at home for the weekend if you can, because the road conditions combined with the bitter cold will just make it very difficult, especially if you get stuck. All of a sudden you have to be outside dealing with this, and so you just don't want to have to do it. I mean, we're going to be coming on in to keep you covered, but we've got plans to get on in as safely as possible. I've got
Or
people,
stay.
Yeah, or stay. We have people that are going to be spending the night here at the station, or at least nearby enough so that we can make sure we're here to bring you all the coverage with our storm teams. We're going to have storm trackers out too, I believe.
Yep, we got 2 storm trackers out. All right, over the shoulder. That's the updated look at snow totals. Not often you're going to see that map
Yeah.
here in eastern Oklahoma, but yeah, with this setup with the moisture and the cold temperatures, once it gets going, it's gonna be a doozy for a while. In fact, you see that band. Yesterday we had the heavier 10 to 18 inch kind of Tulsa to the east. I noticed that now that's gone back even further west.
Yeah, and it could go clear down to Oklahoma City. I mean, this could be along I-44, and it could waffle a little north or south of there. So even if you're not in that heavy band, we're still talking 8-10 inches of snow. That's pretty significant. I still think Tulsa has a pretty solid bet to get a foot. And some parts of the metro area might be talking more than that. And once again, that takes us back to 2011.
Yeah, it does. And the heaviest band that we're talking about, we keep talking about this, and where we could see that convective snow, it's going to be just north of the area where we see the sleet.
Mm-hmm.
So once we get out of that sleet and you get into the snow, that area is where we're going to see the heaviest snow accumulations, where we could see a couple inches an hour. Because as in the cold air, it's very shallow. Top couple thousand feet. Actually, above that, the temperature is warm. So that creates a new surface in the atmosphere, and then the air rises from that. And if you get enough of that air lifting, we talked about lifting air in the spring, that convective can actually get convection.
Same mechanism for thunderstorms in the spring, yeah. But that means with that tight gradient where we're going to go from sleet to very heavy snow, that means the snow totals will vary quite a bit, just mile to mile. So though this is kind of a nicely painted graphic here, it's going to vary a whole lot more than what you see here. This is just our best representation of it because we can't know the minute details. Another thing we've talked about is comparing it to 2011 is this a blizzard or is it not? Because I've seen some posts online about calling this a blizzard. And tell us about the definition of a blizzard.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about blizzard conditions like what we saw, where we see winds sustained over 30, 35 miles per hour, with the heavy snow, the reduced visibility, and the extreme cold temperatures. We're not dealing with any of that. We will have wind, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We will have some wind, but we're not going to have those winds sustained over 30 to 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, the wind is what's going to be lacking to reduce it below blizzard criteria, but we will still have reduced visibility just because snowfall rates could get pretty heavy. So there might be a point it gets down to a quarter mile, but yeah, not a true blizzard, but not to reduce the impact of the snowstorm. It's going to be producing a prolific amount. We haven't seen a system like this, since 2011. Yeah.
In fact, that's our last 8 snowfall or greater.
Oh wow.
In
Yeah.
fact, that's our last 6-inch or greater snowfall, I believe. So
Yeah.
it's going back to 2011. Another thing, it's going to be a dry snow, so
Good
it
point.
will move around quite a bit. So any winds that snow, it's not going to be the big snowball making.
Yeah, especially if we, you see right here, we might have sleet in the mix, and we could get sleet up towards Tulsa. There's a chance that makes it all the way there. So that'll make it even harder to make anything out of the snow, but maybe a better sledding or ski type snow.
That sleet sticks around a lot longer too. It takes a while to burn off. So
it's more compact, yeah.
let's get through here. We've got a midday show to get ready for. This is the other side of the storm system. Cold conditions as we get into Saturday, Sunday. Highs struggling to get about 10 degrees. Some areas in the north probably staying in the single digits. And these morning lows. Ugh. And that actually might be a little mild Monday if we do get a big blanket.
Yeah, -4 will break a record. In fact, the record low for that day is 7 degrees. I looked it up earlier.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to smash that record. There's pretty much a guarantee we will have a record low that particular morning. So, and the other issue is that with the snowpack, you were mentioning this, it's going to stay cold. Snowpacks keep the air cold around it. It actually influences the air temperature around you, which means if we get 10, 15 inches on the ground, then that's going to really keep our temperatures down all of next week. We might not get above freezing for much of next week, which means road conditions, untreated roads, may remain very hazardous for all week long. So that means schools may be out for a good portion of next week.
Yeah. Factor in that wind. Here we go. These are the wind chill values. Yes, as we get into Sunday and Monday, that 12 below, especially Monday morning, back, what was it, 2021, February, I believe it's 16th, 2021, 27 below.
At least not that bad.
The wind chill in Tulsa, we had a temperature though of 13 below.
Yeah.
So
maybe not quite that cold, but it's, I don't know, it does make a big difference at that point to me.
So, and here we go, let's wrap it up here with the next 5 days. And we're being optimistic next Tuesday of getting those temperatures back above freezing, but like Mike just said, if we do get those big, heavy totals that we're expecting, we're probably not going to get above freezing even on Tuesday.
Yeah, we might hover up to that point. Get a little melting if we get some snow, but yeah, it's going to be a slow go to melt this snow. I bet we keep a lot of it into the month of February.
Yeah, so. All right, that's going to wrap it up for now. We'll be back probably later this afternoon. Chief Meteorologist James A. Lett will be in-house, but we're getting ready to go on here. At midday show, you need to get out of here. You've been here all night.
Time for a nap since I've been here since, before 3 o'clock in the morning. So you guys stay safe, stay warm, and we'll keep you posted all through the weekend.